Hello everyone, Alice here. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on a book called All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, or Niven. Again, like my other reviews and things, I've got a more in-depth description on my Goodreads. It's going to be basically talking a bit about the book, my rating, and things like that. I'm not planning to give it all away, so there shouldn't be really too many spoilers. Again, I'm going to just be looking down a little bit just to kind of gather what I've written. So this was a book that I finished in March this year. It took a bit of time to read, but I've watched the film about 3 or 4 times. Every time I've watched it, I've always ended up crying because it's a very kind of close to my heart sort of story. It's something I've suffered with, and it's also something that I've experienced and things like that. So it is a very difficult kind of book and film. And this kind of book, it mainly follows 2 main characters, and that's Violet and Theodore, but Theodore prefers to be called Finch. So I'll probably talk about him by saying Finch. And this book kind of brings you a lot of perspective on everything. It brings you kind of a boy that just wants to not be here anymore, and a girl that's, although she's got so much trauma, she's trying to continue to go on fighting and continue to live. And it shows a friendship, a relationship between 2 completely broken people. Violet lost someone very close to her, and she feels completely upset and incomplete knowing that her friends, her sister's no longer here. And you also get to see and understand Finch. He's got abusive family, he suffers and battles with mental health, bullying, things like that. And you kind of, throughout the book, you get to learn a lot about what's got them both, how they are. You get to learn how they're helping each other as well as trying to get stronger together. And it shows sort of that although one of them really doesn't want to be here, him and his friend are really trying to kind of push through life. They're trying to get stronger together, and with Finch, he tries to help introduce Violet to the beauty of everything, and the reasoning why she needs to continue fighting. And it kind of just starts with them both being partners in like a wandering thing where they need to go around to different places in their local area, take photos and write about it as a school project. And you kind of you get to learn a lot more about Finch than you did in the actual film. You get to learn more about his life, his story. The same really with Violet. You get to hear a lot more about her, things that's happened in her life, how close she was with her sister. There's so much that you get to learn that you don't get to know about in the film. Just trying to make sure I'm talking about everything. You just get to, the book kind of brings you it's a bit of a strange layout. For example, it's kind of laid out where you have a chapter which is based on Violet, and then you have a chapter that's based on Finch. It's kind of what they're both experiencing kind of at that same time, but like how it varies between them. And you get to kind of like learn to love them both, and also learn to understand why things are going on and how things are going. Finch sort of shows how much of a gentleman he can be. Like, for example, even when they're driving, when they eventually want to start a relationship, he stops and parks the car, he opens the door, lets out Violet, kisses her there. He introduces himself to Violet's family, and you kind of, it's upsetting because you can see sort of how much Finch is really struggling, but yet he's still trying to be there for Violet. And it's the same really with Violet. She's really struggling, yet she's still finding reasons to still be here, even though when there's some moments where it just feels like there are no reasons, there's no point in living anymore and things like that. It sort of covers quite a lot. It covers a lot to do with mental health, trauma, loss, abuse, violence. It has a very wide spectrum of everything really, and it's really well put together. As I said, if you haven't read the book or watched the film, I would recommend to read the book first, because there's so much more in the book that you don't get to see in the film. However, one thing that was a bit strange is, as I said, I've watched the film about 4 to 5 times. Every single time I always end up crying. For some reason, this book didn't actually make me cry, but it kind of gave quite a different perspective on things. And the other interesting thing about the book is it kind of gives you a bit of the author's story, because the story actually, quite a lot of it is close to the author's own experiences with someone that she lost to suicide, and you get to kind of learn about her story and how she portrayed that throughout the book. This book I would definitely highly recommend. It is quite an emotional book, but it's a very informative and interesting book, and it does get to help you kind of see perspectives in things. So I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. It took a bit of time to read to complete reading it, because I was reading it for a while, then a few things went on, so it was kind of delayed, and then I eventually got back to it and completed this in March. So I would definitely highly recommend. I do have another book by Jennifer Niven called Holding Up the Universe, which I'm looking forward to reading at some point soon. So that's pretty much the end of this video. Again, I've got a more in-depth description and discussion on my Goodreads, which I will try and link in the description down below. If you enjoyed this video and my other videos, then please like, comment, subscribe. It's truly appreciated. Thank you all for watching. Take care and bye for now.